What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran. I help people using a spiritual perspective. And today I wanted to ask the question, what is a soul? Not to you, because you can't answer right now, but this is a fundamental principle of spirituality, is the soul. This idea that there is something that exists within each human being that you could honestly, I suppose, say connects everything together, a certain kind of energy, a certain kind of fantasy almost as well, since you can't really prove the nature of the soul. So it really is worth asking, what is this thing supposed to be? Because it's so fundamental in spirituality that it connects all these different ideas together. I mean, for example, the idea of past lives, right? The only way that the idea of past lives can exist is if you have a soul. And throughout history, people have been associating the idea of a soul with religion, right? God will save your soul. The idea of selling your soul to the devil, or some other sort of weird, creepy Lovecraft monster thing. I don't know. But the point is that this idea of a soul has existed for centuries and maybe longer. It's not something we just made up in the last few years or so. So there is this certain wisdom or knowledge that comes through this word, the soul, right? But it's worth talking about it in a different way and to what it really could mean. So number one, the word soul. Not just a city in South Korea, also a ridiculous word, really, because there is no proper word for what you could describe as a deeper self, right? Any word that you give soul or God, or it's all really ridiculous and doesn't quite capture the reality of the situation. So one, the label, the word, soul. It does trap people within a certain narrative. It does give you a sense of things, but you can very easily get trapped in a bubble and believe everything that you hear about a soul. Ultimately, and I think it's worth mentioning, there is no way currently to prove the existence of a soul. So you do have to have some suspension of disbelief when you're talking about this subject. You have to say to yourself, my opinion and my belief system or my inner knowing tells me that there's something deeper. But I believe that the word soul throws a lot of people off. And you might be inclined to just disregard it entirely. So yes, we're going to talk about the soul, but I am not going to be attached to the name itself. What I am going to be referring to is the presence within each of us. And you can refer to that as a soul if you want. I think that's the best word that we have so far, at least in the English language, but there is something so much deeper about that that can't be just defined by a singular four-letter word, okay? So, the soul, the deeper part of yourself. Other people refer to this as your highest self, the deepest self. I prefer the deepest self because the highest self implies that, again, just like the idea of God, something is above you. Okay, whereas a deeper self suggests that it's within you, and it's been within you the whole time. So for me, many years ago, 5, 6, I can't remember now, too much weed, I discovered, is the best word I can use, my, again, the lack of a better word, soul. I discovered my soul. I discovered the name of that. I discovered the feeling. I discovered the energy. Excuse me. I discovered the power, almost, the presence of what was really going on inside of me. And this came through some channel of smoking way too much weed. Other people take mushrooms, ayahuasca. Certain kinds of experiences lead down certain alleys. Meditation, just plain and simple. Getting in touch with the energy behind your thoughts, right? That's how it happened for me. And I remember the answers, or the feeling, really, coming from within, right? From a deeper part. It didn't come from here or there. It didn't come from the mind. You know, you can usually tell when something is intuition, if it's quieter but stronger in a sense. And it doesn't feel like it's coming from here. Whereas the ego always feels like I can hear the voices coming from this part of my consciousness, if that makes sense to you. Whereas wisdom from the soul always feels like it's coming from up, from within. Like it just feels like this flower that's blooming and sprouting out of the dirt and into the ground, and I can feel that wisdom come up from the ground, break the soil, and bloom into something which would then be an answer. Okay, that's what the intuition feels like to me. It might be a shitty metaphor, but that's what I got for you. Okay, feeling that presence, okay, back years and years and years ago, led me down a series of paths, a new beginning, spirituality, right? That always comes back to that initial discovery of self and that deepest discovery. Now, obviously, with stresses and life and ups and downs and relationships and habits and all kinds of stuff that exist in life, challenges, obstacles, the connection to that deeper presence can wane. It can go in and out. It can be hard to really keep up with it, right? So you also have to understand that the soul is something that's always there. It's always present. It always exists. You're always connected to it. Your ability to listen to it, though, does change from time to time, right? Because it's not something that's easy to hear when you're distracted, essentially, right? Just like with anything, if you're trying to listen to a friend speak, even if you really care about them and they are your friend, but you're distracted, your mind's racing, you got other thoughts about, job or anything, right? Money, whatever it is that distracts people, then you're not really listening to them and you can't hear what they're saying, even though you like them and you care about them as a friend, right? And it's kind of the same thing with your soul. It's a deeper presence that exists, right? And you can only feel it. You can't quantify it. You can't take it out of your body and show it to other people and say, hey, look at me, it's a soul, I'm right, where's my Nobel Peace Prize? It doesn't work like that. And something that, again, you have to suspend your disbelief, your logical way of thinking. And again, you can kind of tinker with the word, you can mess around with it, you can have a problem with it. I used to be a pretty staunch atheist. I think the idea of the word soul would have thrown me for quite a tirade probably. But ultimately, this deeper presence, that is the thing that you're always connected to. And even when you sometimes can't hear it, and it might take a bit to get back into, it is there. It is a presence that exists beyond your thoughts, right? So when you're thinking, I don't know what you're thinking. Let's say I would love some mozzarella sticks. Okay, maybe you hate yourself and for whatever reason you want to go to Burger King and eat mozzarella sticks. That's a choice you can do. I've done that before. Didn't work out well. I went to Burger King, got mozzarella sticks. Didn't have any mozzarella in them. What are you supposed to do in that situation? Complain that your mozzarella sticks don't have mozzarella? You may as well just kill yourself, really. I mean, you're already eating at Burger King. Just accept, right? So anyway, I digress. The point is, you're thinking about whatever, mozzarella sticks, money, life, who cares? And you're listening to your own thoughts. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, chatter, radio static. It's essentially what your thoughts are, right? Sometimes the songs are good, sometimes the words are good, other times they're bad. Either way, you're paying attention to what you're paying attention to. And that's what your thoughts are. You're paying attention to nonsense, ultimately. Okay, could be true, could be nonsense, could be hurtful, could be mean, could be nice. It's random, it's chaos, okay? So you're listening, you're paying attention, it's going on, it's chattering, it's blah, blah, blah. And taking a step back from that, just listening to the thoughts, you then have to ask, well, then who is the person listening to the thoughts, right? Because if they're there and you're thinking things, whatever that may be, you have to have this awareness that, well, there's a presence within you that is listening to the thoughts, right? So what is that presence? What exists there, right? So you have, let's see if I can use a very shitty example here, a pen, which exists as your thoughts. Okay, this red pen right here, unless you're colorblind, in which case it's whatever color it is to you. But this is a red pen for normal people, and that's your thoughts, right? But then there's this awareness, this other pen, a deeper awareness, because we're going down now, right? That what exists is a presence. So you are aware of these thoughts. So now this presence is the deeper self, right? And then one more layer is then you become aware of your awareness. And this is essentially the soul. It is a thoughtless ocean that requires no action, no thoughts, no real inquiries. It's you already know what you need to know because you're existing as a pure being. So your thoughts, which you can get trapped in, lost in, believe, all kinds of stuff, right? You then have this deeper awareness, like, okay, well, I'm aware that I'm listening to my thoughts. So there you go. And then you have an awareness of this awareness. And that's the deepest self you can get to, summarizing for you. So your soul is in there. It's in every single person. I think that's an undeniable fact. There's no way to prove the existence of this word, soul, but there's also a way for everybody to prove that there is a deeper part of themselves. And anybody can do it because it just involves going within yourself. It's those 3 steps. Now, the third step can be kind of a trickier, longer sort of process. And I believe that's what meditation, in a way, teaches people. Because meditation is simply just the act of breathing, right? Breathe over and over and over again. You just focus on your breath. Eventually, you get out of your thoughts. You're in that awareness. And then eventually, you'll have this third sort of secondary awareness of your awareness. And I don't think that anything miraculous happens when you get to that third level. I've gotten there many times. It's just a way of connecting and knowing that there is something deeper within you. And what that is supposed to do is help you deal with the bullshit of life. Maybe it's not supposed to give you some crazy amount of answers. Maybe it's not supposed to solve everything in a day. Maybe it doesn't make you into some Eckhart Tolle type of spiritual guru or wisdom or whoever you like or watch. But it can help you deal with the stresses of life. It can help you reconnect, right? To get back into a sense of who you really are. And who you really are is a separate thing. And that's really the question of the soul, right? I mean, everything outside of me here, this is a reflection of Kieran, right? This is a reflection of me. Where I'm staying, this is a reflection of Kieran. This is the things that Kieran has done to get to this point, the money that Kieran has saved, the job that Kieran, the personality that I have, where I am now, the things that I'm doing, the life, the choices that I made, good and bad, it's a reflection of me. It's a reflection of Kieran. Some of the things might be a reflection of my deepest self. For instance, the point of this YouTube channel is to try and help people, is to try and take some spiritual wisdom that I might have based on my experiences, and without trying to force anybody to believe what I'm trying to tell them, to give them insights and advice that could be used as a possible solution or just a way of making you feel better, okay? It's a way of helping people. Reflection of a deeper part of myself, okay? The music that I make, the writing, the fiction, the short stories, the things that I do in that regard, the humor that I have, these are reflections of a deeper sense of self. And they could also, be a part of the Kieran as well. There's a little bit of intermingling going on, of course, obviously. But the outside is the reflection. And the outside, while it may come with plentiful distractions and wonderful things to experience and do, it also comes with responsibilities and stress and pain and shame and guilt and setbacks and challenges and delays and time and doctor's appointments and paying fucking taxes. I mean, how do you even do taxes? I don't know. I'm an idiot. So there's a lot of different things and crap that exists in life, and it's challenging and difficult, and people's lives are more difficult than mine in certain ways, I'm sure, depending on where they are in the world. So everybody has a different path, everybody has a different life, and it's all a reflection of themselves, really. So who is anybody? Who are you, really? What do you really want? What do you really care about? What are you beyond your thoughts, your physical body, and all the stuff that you can see or hear or sense in the world, right? That is your soul. That's what a soul is. It's your deepest self. And it's hard to connect to it because there's a lot of distractions. It's very easy to get caught up in the chatter of your mind. It's very easy to find different ways of escaping the present moment, whether it's through something extremely harmful, mildly harmful, or something that you think is good, but you just do it anyway, right? You can get lost reading books, right? You can read, constantly and escape the present moment that way too. Good things, healthy habits can also be distractions, right? So regardless of what it is, it's very easy to escape the present moment, but your real true self exists in the present moment all the time. And that is the thing that everybody has. So even though you can't take it out of yourself and give it to a scientist to say definitively, oh, well, the soul is definitely true, anybody has the ability to go within themselves and discover who they really are. And that real presence will shift so that you can make new decisions. I don't believe that everything changes in a day, but I do believe that these shifts and these connections with yourself helps create new opportunities and new directions and new paths and new emotions and new feelings and new avenues to explore. Because essentially, the more that you spend time with yourself, the more you know who you are. And the more that you know who you are, to me, can only be a good thing.